Alright, y'all, I'm ready to get into Zola. Let's see what this is about. It's about a series of tweets. It's gotta be fun. What did I just watch? What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review, and today I'm diving into the A24 film Zola. This is playing in theaters now, guys, and a huge thank you to A24 for providing me with a screener link for review. This film has been highly anticipated basically by everyone that read the series of tweets, and we'll talk about that back in 2015. But the movie is directed by Janicza Bravo, and it stars Taylour Paige, Riley Keough, Nicholas Braun, and Coleman Domingo. This cast is excellent, and honestly I do recommend seeing this in theaters if you can safely. But before I tell you why, and also what didn't work too well with Zola, if it is your first time here at the channel, guys, welcome to Real James, where we talk about movies like this all the time. So if you don't want to miss out, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, tap on that bell, y'all, and hit the big thumbs up button if you're a fan of any of the members of this cast, because I'm a fan of pretty much everyone. And if you haven't already, get loud in the comments below and let me know if you've seen Zola. What did you think, and did it blow your mind? Because it blew mine. Alrighty, y'all, well, if you don't know much about the story, let's get into it just a little bit. Zola is a film based on the mostly true story told by Azia Zola King Moon. It was on Twitter back in 2015, and yes, this is all pretty much true, and I honestly cannot believe it's true after what we saw in this film. I was totally surprised because I've never read the story, so once we got to the end, well, I had to pick up my jaw from the ground. Alrighty, guys, so I can't wait to finally talk about this film. So let's get right into my spoiler-free thoughts, and that starts with the way that this is filmed. I love the direction by Janicza Bravo. Zola has this very vintage feel to it because it's shot on 16mm film. Janicza Bravo's vision really bleeds through the screen, and this is actually the very first film I've seen directed by her, and she is doing an excellent job already. This film just really flows very well, and you can tell that she really took a lot of care with each scene. Then you have the film grain swimming on screen. It was really a breath of fresh air and helped this film separate itself from the majority of movies that I've seen in 2021. There's also this very frantic nature to the movie, so you guys should not come into this thinking it's going to be an easy watch, because it's not. It will challenge you, but in the high intensity scenes, in those little moments of time where you feel like, oh my gosh, things are going haywire, Janicza Bravo still allows everything to breathe. So she focuses on certain characters and conversations and just allows me, the audience, to get really immersed into this film. And I love that. Now, when it comes to the story itself, it's one of the absolute craziest stories I've ever witnessed unfold. Like I said, I've never read the original story, but it went viral, and I mean, it took off and was pretty much the first Twitter thread that did well on Twitter. So guys, I mean, I've been hearing about this for years, and I can only imagine it's going to go viral again after this movie makes the rounds. I love how the movie really just gives us a brief glimpse into Zola's life before she goes to Florida with her newfound friend Stephanie. Zola's just a waitress and a dancer, but unfortunately gets tangled into this mess with a pimp named X. Yeah, guys, again, story's nuts, but when they get to Florida, it goes off the wall. And before we get into the acting, y'all, another thing about Zola that really impressed me was the editing. In an A24 film, I've come to expect that the way these films are shot and produced are not going to be anything like any of the other films you might see in a calendar year, and Zola's no exception. I loved many of the decisions Janicza Bravo made in this movie, including the Twitter sound effect whenever a new line of dialogue would be read by Zola herself, which to me meant that maybe that was directly pulled from the Twitter thread. So I think it's a nice touch. It's, again, just a lot of attention to detail, and I mean, honestly, whenever you're in the middle of certain moments, you get a lot of Zola's perspective, so maybe the voices in the background drown out and you just hear Zola's thoughts. It's so cool. But y'all, it is time to talk about our main cast in this movie, starting with the extremely talented Taylour Paige. I've only really seen Taylour Paige in movies over the past couple of years, but what I will tell you is that every time I see her on screen, she's always standing out among her co-stars. And in this movie, she plays the title character, Zola, and let me tell you, she plays that role to perfection. Her entire vibe, the way she carries herself from scene to scene, and even the nuance in between conversations, just makes for one of the best performances of the year. And it's not even a question that Taylour Paige needs to be on everyone's radar after this film. I also really liked her back and forth dialogue with Riley Keough, who plays Stephanie, the woman who gets Zola into this messy situation to begin with. Riley Keough plays a character that I'm assuming no one's supposed to like, because I came away not hating her, but I really really did not like this character because she dragged Zola into a situation she was never supposed to be a part of. But there's this funny tug and pull throughout the film where the writing allows you to kind of feel bad for Riley Keough's character, and then at the same time you just understand she's getting into a messy situation on her own accord. So I do like the fact that there is that little bit of decision making you have to make as a viewer. Do you like her? Do you not like her? But Riley Keough just does a really good job at playing off of her co-stars very well. And guys, the sis scene is still stuck in my head. Y'all know what that is. Sis, yes sis. It's dang it, it's gonna be in my head for the rest of the weekend. Then there's Coleman Domingo, who is unreal in this movie. He plays X, a detestable character. He's a pimp, he traffics women, and yes, you're not supposed to like him, but the way Coleman Domingo plays this character is excellent. He's different in public versus in private, and X has this accent change, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. But Coleman Domingo does such an excellent job at going back and forth. He's honestly been a favorite actor of mine for a while, and in Zola, he just blew my mind yet again. And the last actor we have to talk about, guys, is Nicholas Braun as Derek, the boyfriend of Stephanie. So for all my Succession fans, you'll know him as Greg. But here he plays a very immature and way too overly obsessed character because he is just willing to literally kill himself for Stephanie. It's insane. I don't know how he does it, but Nicholas Braun is very good at balancing awkward humor and then some of the more serious moments. Like there's this conversation that he shares with Zola in the back of an SUV, and I'm not gonna lie, it was really sad. But he does give a lot of the laugh out loud moments in this movie, and I am just such a fan of what he's been doing with his career, and I can't wait to see what's next. Alright, so now we gotta dive into some of the things I didn't like about Zola, and there aren't a lot, but there are two things about this film that really holds it back from being great, and it starts with the story. Funnily enough, because guys, the story is what makes this movie really good and also holds it back from being one of the best movies of the year. And I get that maybe it's because it was adapted from a series of tweets, but by the end, this story felt really incomplete. I didn't feel like there was any closure, and even then I didn't think the ending justified the time we spent leading up to that final scene. And what really hurts the film is that after all of those crazy scenes and the moments, all the twists and turns, we get an anticlimactic ending that makes me feel like, was it just a series of events that we were watching unfold, or was this a complete story? And I didn't want to walk away with Zola having those questions. I kind of wanted to see exactly the resolve between our entire cast, and we just never get that in this movie. I also wasn't a fan of the movie straying away from Taylour Paige in that last half. It does feel like, to me at least, that she gets less and less shine as the movie goes on, and I understand you have to make room for more actors and characters, but Taylour Paige's performance as Zola is exactly what made the movie great in the first half. So them going away from that as we get closer to the end of the film just doesn't really work for me, and I almost feel like, man, if she is your titular character, why go away from her so much? And I think that the movie could have been much better in that final chunk if Taylour Paige was given more of the spotlight. And there's one scene that also doesn't feel like it fits in the midst of this story that focuses solely on Stephanie. But I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil anything. Let's just say it felt out of place, and I almost feel like it added on unnecessary time to the movie where otherwise it could have been given to Zola. So overall, you guys, Zola is really one of those films where if you're convinced by the trailer, I recommend you sit down and experience this insane story. Not only is the directing by Janicza Bravo great, but then you have an amazing score, cinematography, you have editing, and then to top it all off, the acting features some of the best performances of the year. I hope that this film doesn't get overlooked, to be honest, especially with Black Widow coming out next week, but what I will say is Zola is one of those A24 films that will stick with you for a while. And I appreciate that it speaks to a larger issue as well, which is sex trafficking and how women are being affected by this every single day. It really unsettled me in so many moments, but I think that's the intention. So I would say that this film definitely gets that 3.5 out of 5 for me, but it really is an impactful experience, and I did enjoy my time with it for the most part. I just wish the ending was a little bit stronger. So there you have it, guys. That's my real review of Zola, which is again playing now in theaters. So when you see it, let me know what you think down below in the comments. And hey, if you haven't already, hit the big red button, subscribe to the channel, tap on that bell, and hit that thumbs up button if you're a big fan of Taylour Paige, because man, I think she really is going to be the next star. She's like on the rise, right? Like if you know of her, you know she's great. And I can't wait for more people to see her and recognize her after Zola. Alrighty, y'all. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. And I'm gonna go check my Twitter and make sure, nothing else is popping off. No threads? Okay.